because I have to say, Rob, Ja was electric last night and just reminded everyone like how actually good he could be.
Absolutely. I mean, he just gives them a totally different kind of explosive potential that they've obviously been missing, because not only is your offense going to be better with a player like Ja, but you can actually make comebacks. You can actually go on runs. You can actually be not just competitive, but aggressive and push other teams in these games. So, spinning right through Herb Jones for a game winner, like that's the kind of shit only Ja can do on that team. So needless to say, they're happy to have him back. And he's going to change so much about what they do from Desmond Bane on down. Like he just makes everybody's life so much easier there.
Now that Ben Simmons has retired, Zion Williamson has probably become the poster boy, whipping boy of this show, or at least for me. But it's just crazy watching these two guys juxtapose against one another, because of course Zion comes into the season having had his first ever alleged professional training regimen in the summer, and seeing him look lethargic at times throughout the season. And Ja Morant, this is 25 freaking games. He comes back and he looks like he's barely breaking a sweat out there, making game winners, dropping 34, getting to the basket with reckless abandon, just completely unstoppable, looked as explosive as ever. And yeah, man, it brings you back to why everybody was so disappointed by his behavior, because so many people, both fans and executives in the league offices and at Nike headquarters, quite frankly, had pegged this guy to be the next sort of, standard bearer of the league. He's going to grab the proverbial torch and run with it. And last night reminded you why everybody was so disappointed of the direction he was going, because he means so much to the game and his game is so captivating. So yeah, man, it was dope to see Ja do that last night.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty instructive that after the game, after he won the game at the buzzer, he was pretty much being upfront that like he didn't want the final play, but he almost couldn't help himself but to finish that game for the Grizzlies. It's the complete opposite of Zion, where it's like you have to just really rouse him in order to have that sort of effect. So great to have Ja back. I mean, we should probably ask, Rob, do you believe in the Grizzlies now? Did you see with Ja a path forward to at least be back into the play-in sort of mix?
Well, they're closer than you think in terms of getting into the play-in group. I think the question for them is going to be overcoming the Warriors, who have shown, some signs of life lately. It's not just a matter of games back, but competition. But it really does look like it's going to be about a 12-team race for the playoffs. I can't imagine the Jazz are really competitive there in the grand scheme of things. So I think the answer is why not? If some of these other teams who are in the play-in bracket or near enough right now get an injury at the wrong time, have their key players out for any significant stretch, like the Grizzlies had Ja Morant out for a significant stretch, things can change pretty quickly. So I wouldn't be shocked to see them climb into 10th place, climb into 9th. Like I think they have that in them. We've seen when they have even a remotely healthy roster, they can be a regular season juggernaut. And the defense has been good enough all season to give them something to work with here, supposing that Ja can be this kind of daily force. I'm with you, Woz. Really impressive debut to come back with that kind of energy, that kind of flow, that kind of feel that Ja did. But some of the rigors of the NBA season are what happens when it's stacking weeks on weeks on weeks, when it's, long road trips. It may still take him some time to get his legs under him for that reason. And if Memphis can steal some of those games in the meantime, I think they could end up with a pretty respectable win total, honestly.
So I kind of want to do like a re-ranking of the best League Pass teams here, at least the top upper crust there. What's at the top right now? What is it? A third of the way through the season of your League Pass rankings? Is it, as I assume, all of us, maybe the Thunder?
I mean, the Thunder actually is funny, man. Obviously, I've been waving the Chet flag, and Chet we trust. Chet again looked crazy against the Nuggets. I mean, I don't know how you can. I guess Shea Gilgeous-Alexander gave him a step stool for them 9 blocks, according to Michael Pina. But that's neither here nor there. You wasn't here for that craziness, Rob. But
I gotta catch up on that.
Yeah. Michael Pina was denigrating the exploits of Chet Holmgren, saying, "Oh, he's the beneficiary of whatever." I'm not gonna. They go low, I go high. So as much as I love the Thunder, and they're very high on my League Pass list, my number one is the Timberwolves. Just because for me personally, I just love the way that they get after it on defense. I love the cohesion of that unit across lineups, by the way. Their big man rotation fascinates me endlessly, obviously, because they're paying all three of these guys, but they're all freaking delivering this year. So it's nice to watch. And then, of course, obviously, man, Anthony Edwards and just what he's able to do on a night-to-night basis and how he can surprise and do these eye-popping, jaw-dropping plays night to night. Even when he's only going, 7 of 18, he's doing something subtle that I'm just like, wow. Or he's reading the defenses for passes and playmaking. And I'm like, oh, okay, he's stacking stuff on top of his already impressive offensive game. So night to night, once I see the Timberwolves are on, that's coming on. That's number one for me, with a bullet, kind of.
Yeah, they're kind of a perfect league pass team because you have a rock solid foundation with their defense, which having seen them in person recently is really something to behold. Like they are smothering, and it's not just Rudy Gobert and Jaden McDaniels. Like Nickeil Alexander-Walker is having an amazing defensive season.
Bag,
Kyle Anderson is wreaking havoc out there. They're just enormous defensively and put a lot of pressure on you. So they have that going for them, and that's going to keep them in pretty much every game. And then you have Edwards, as you're saying, Waz, who's going to do something basically every night that's unbelievable, that catches you by surprise, that even when you're watching them time after time after time, he's going to deliver in fun and interesting ways. And I'm also kind of loving the season that Cat is having, to be honest with you. He's really found like a nice little niche in terms of attacking from the three-point line and also kind of attacking into the elbow area and finding some good kind of like deeper, or not deeper, like longer post-ups from that range or little turnarounds from that range that have been working. I think there's a lot to like with the Wolves. I guess the only question is, as far as adopting a new team, are they too good? Can you adopt the number one team in the West standings?
I just wish with Kat, whenever he is having complimentary quotes about Anthony Edwards, we just had a picture-in-picture where we could see his fingernails just like digging into his thigh, or like him just like gritting his teeth in between it. Like he is saying all the right things. Anthony Edwards is the guy, yada, yada, yada. But deep down, that shit burns.
This is big time projection. This is anytime anyone asks Justin about us, what happens.
Hold on. Here's where I will come to Justin's defense, because our guy John Krasinski wrote a great story, centered around Cat and his relationship with AD, and how the tweet came out was essentially Karl Anthony Towns gets along way better with Ant Edwards than he did Jimmy Butler. And I'm like, that's damning with faint praise if I've ever seen it, dude.
Yeah, but Cat is playing the good soldier so far. It is working. But I think that's a good question to ask. Are the Wolves too good to be qualified as a league pass team? Because these are typically the more intriguing teams, the teams that are still kind of figuring their shit out. So, Rob, who do you have at the top of your re-ranking?
I mean, I think the Pacers are still there, and they're low enough in the standings that I think you can. There's still room on the bandwagon. They're still accepting newcomers. They're still selling seats. And honestly, maybe the Timberwolves are in that group too, just because they've been such a long-suffering franchise. They'll take all the support they can get at this point. But the Pacers are on the up and up. They're really fun to watch on a nightly basis. And right now, if anything, this is a time to buy low, right? They've dropped 4 straight games. They've been missing guys for most of those games. But I think they're a team that if you watch nightly, you're going to really enjoy your experience, whether that's what Tyrese Halliburton is cooking up for the Pacers or who it is on the other team that's dropping 50 tonight. There's always going to be some redeeming quality of that regular season basketball that's rewarding on a recurring basis.
I'm big Pacers. I was gonna say that as far as a lower tier team.
Well, can I push back just quickly on the Pacers? Because I too was a big Pacers proponent earlier in the season. Like 150 points, like in that range, like most of the time is something you don't typically see, even in the high scoring 3-point era of the NBA. But like, I think the flip side is starting to happen where there are too many like 150 to 130 games where like the offense is great, but the defense is so bad that we're getting into more like mukbang territory where it's like, oh, this is too much of a good thing that like my stomach is hurting a little bit as this goes on.
Interesting. So is it a desensitization of what they do, or is it just like starting to wear on you the cumulative effect of all this scoring going both ways?
Too much of a good thing. A lot of scoring is great. this sort of extreme might be too much. So for instance, I actually have the Kings pretty high up on my list because it's almost like a more adult, measured version of what you're getting with the Pacers, a more refined sort of palette.
That is fair.
Sort like a really like high-end burger. Basically, is what the Kings are.
Sure.
Whereas, like maybe with the Pacers, you're still just like scarfing down like the gross out triple decker sort of thing.
He's calling the Pacers barefoot wine, Rob, and the Kings are like the truce or something like that. Like that's basically what he's doing there.
I don't like it. I don't appreciate it. And who among us is above an occasional triple decker greasy burger, Justin?
It's fine every so often, but like on a game to game, every single game basis, I don't think I could do it. Woz, who else do you have?
Dallas Mavericks, man. I've had to watch them because they've been playing in a lot of prominent games recently, a few of which they've come out on the top end of. That Nuggets game notwithstanding, they kind of got crushed. They ran up against a buzzsaw. But honestly, right now, I think because Jokic is not playing, let's just say he's not trying his hardest at the moment in December. Like it's kind of obvious if you watch the Nuggets at all. Not that he's not giving great production. He's just not trying his very hardest. I think Luka is playing the best ball in the league right now. He seems to me to be the most unstoppable force on offense that exists right now this side of Nikola Jokic. Like, you just cannot single cover this guy at this point. The freaking step back to his left is completely unstoppable at this point. And yeah, once he gets going downhill, it's amazing. His footwork in the post, which always, like, when people did the Harden comparisons, is like, I don't know, man. Harden doesn't have this post footwork back down game, Hakeem Olajuwon element to what he's doing, as well as the off the dribble stuff. I just think he's playing his best ball ever. We predicted his MVP campaigns like 3 seasons in a row. This year, particularly the last 2 weeks or so, watching him play, I'm like, man, this is LeBron stuff. This is LeBron in Miami, first thing Cleveland stuff. This is Jokic last year stuff. And beat stuff. Like, this guy is playing at the top level of the league right now. To me, if you get a chance to watch Luka and how he's operating with Kyrie out, mind you, he just looks incredible.
I have lots of Luka thoughts, lots of Mavs thoughts that I want to touch on a little later with another question. But can I pitch you guys on a deeper cut league pass potential? Really, I guess we're pitching Emma on deeper cut league pass teams.
Of course.
If wins is not what you're interested in,
don't do it.
The Portland Trailblazers.
Okay.
Interesting.
I'm all aboard the Shaden Sharp Express.
Shaden Sharp looks incredible. Oh my
looks
Lord.
Really, really good. Anthony Simons has been back and really impressive. Matisse Thybulle is having the season of his life. Toumani Camara? Are you kidding me? Love Toumani Camara. And don't even talk to me if you don't know about Dwap Reith yet. Don't even talk to me.
Dwap Reith, yeah. He's sick, apparently.
Yeah. You can't come to Christmas dinner if you don't have Dwap Reith takes. Yeah, I like them. I would say, though, I tend not to lean on them as my late night sort of team on the Pacific Coast here. I would prefer a Kings, or like actually the team I have on my list, which might not even qualify as a League Pass team because they probably don't play enough League Pass games if you're in the States, because they might be blacked out. If you're in LA, for instance, this is the Lakers. Basically, outside of the 2020 title year, every Lakers season has games that can go one way or another. They're in every game to the end because they have just enough to where there's stakes and that there's like exciting superstar play happening, but they could lose any game at any moment, even if they're up big, even if they're down big. Like, it's going to be interesting in the fourth. And for that reason, the late era LeBron experience has been one of my favorites.
Best sitcom on television. I've been saying that for 3 years now.
It's true.
They also have that thing going where teams get up to play the Lakers and they get up to play LeBron. And that's always going to result in a pretty great product.